Just started the recording again here with a new room and a new form of vulnerability. We were doing SQL injections from last 2 to 3 weeks, and the last week I did PHP, that reverse shell using PHP, and this is SSRF, which is basically server-side request forgery, discovering the inner working of SSRF and explore multiple exploitation techniques. So we'll just join the room. Okay, the landscape of web attack constantly evolves, with threat actors devising sophisticated methods to compromise system. As each day passes, the expansion of web threats warrants the need of robust cybersecurity measures to counter the advancing tactics employed by malicious actors. In this room, we will discuss similar attack known as server-side forgery, request forgery. Okay. So SSRF is web application security vulnerability that allows attacker to force the server to make unauthorized requests to local or external source. On behalf of the web server, SSRF allows an attacker to interact with internet system, potentially leading to data leaks. Okay. Learn prerequisites. How website work? I'll just see if I have learned that. Prerequisites. I have learned OWASP. Not learned. I have completed the OWASP top 10 room. I think I have completed it twice. I'll just start the machine. A vulnerable humans resource management system. So you can access SRMS website on this. If you connect via VPN or attack the box hrms.thm by opening the file host file, depending on your host operating system. I'll just see what website is it. There are 8 tasks and it is a pretty much working vulnerability. Anatomy of SSRF attack. When developing network software, it's common to make requests to external server. Developers often use these requests to fetch remote sources like software updates or important data from other applications. Got this IP, I'll just copy that. I'll just ping that IP once. If it is active or not, check. Yes, it is active. Just remove this, paste. Actually loading that IP directly is better. HRMS all-in-one website. It is a pretty much good website. I'll just try some payloads here. If it works, invalid email or username. Okay, so I think basically SQL injections are not working here. It is a pretty much advanced room, and I have told you before also, in advanced rooms SQL vulnerabilities don't work. I am able to access this site. What they are telling is this. What is this? I don't know what is it. hrms.thm. I'll just visit that once. No, not. I'll just see if it asks later on for to connect that. An SSRF vulnerability can arise when user provided data is used to construct a request, such as forming a URL to execute SSRF attacks. An attacker can manipulate a parameter value within this vulnerable software, effectively creating or controlling requests from that software directly them towards other servers or even same servers. SSRF vulnerability can be found in various types of computer softwares across wide range of programming languages platforms as long as software operating is a networked environment. While most SSRF vulnerabilities are commonly discovered in web applications and other network softwares, they can also be present in server software. WASP ranking, earning a spot in WASP top 10, max incident rate 2.27, average incident rate 2.72, average weight exploit. Basically, this is the score, this is how much CVEs are present. Occurrence is about this time. So basically, this is a very new kind of vulnerability, and we'll learn this and see how it works. The above table provides insight into prevalence, impact, and coverage of SSRF vulnerability in specific context of data. Yes, max incident rate is suggest how oftenly this vulnerability occurs and encountered. Average incident rate, it shows how common this vulnerability is compared to others. So 2.72% indicates the average difficulty. Ignore the cuts in the videos. I am having cold, that's why I'm drinking as much water as I can. Max coverage, it shows how much of the system have been exploited due to this vulnerability. 67%, it is quite a lot. Total occurrence, total CVEs. Okay, total CVEs. These CVEs are. This data is from WASP 2021. The SSRF vulnerability ranks 7th in WASP API security top 10. Okay, I'll just open this page. We'll see what is present here. API 7 2023 server side request forgery. So exploitability easy, security weakness common. If you want to read this, you can. I'll just skip it. Okay, data exposure explains cybercriminal can gain access to 67% of website is basically vulnerable to this. Denial of service attacks can also happen. What is average weight? 8 point something, 8.28. Weighted impact, okay, 6.72. I thought it was weighted. Exploit types of SSRF. Basic SSRF. So basic SSRF is a web attack technique where an attacker tricks server into making requests on their behalf. So this time I am going to use a Notion template. So basically I'll just make a Notion template on every vulnerability that I learn, such as SQLi. I'll make a Notion template in which all the contents of SQLi, all the websites that I exploited will be stored, basically documenting everything. If I want to revise it sometime, I can revise. I'll just open that Notion template and I'll just revise. I have learned Notion this weekend and it is quite easy to use. Scenario: a SSRF against a local server. In this attack, the attacker makes an authorized request to the web server hosting the web application. The attacker typically supplies a loopback IP address or local host to receive the response. The vulnerability arises due to the application handles input from query, parameter, or API calls. For example, in HRMS application, there is a feature that loads additional page on the URL hrms.thm localhost. What URL are we on? Copyright. So basically this is what the URL looks like. I'll just load this. I'll copy, paste. I'll remove this. It is same as this, I think. Yes, it is. For example, okay. However, due to insignificant validation of the input URL, an attacker can manipulate this functionality for SSRF attacks by changing the URL parameter to point to another page or service. Or the attacker can force SRMS server to make requests to other pages. For instance, the attacker uses the URL /config. I'll just open this. Actually, as soon as I get anything, I just try loading that. I don't know why, but it is my natural instincts. The main idea is to forge a legitimate request and make the server perform unintended actions. How it works: suppose you have been tasked to pentest HRMS website and identify any SRF loopholes. Visit hrms.thm and then you will see a login page is protected through a username and password. We'll notice once we visit, it automatically redirects to copyright page. The web page shows the copyright status of the website. Okay, this means developer has probably made some mistake while handling a file showing the copyright status. Here's the code of the page that takes the query parameter. We can see the above code URL copyright. Okay. Here, as you can see, some username and password has occurred already. I don't know what it is, but I'll just note that in my notebook. Maybe we'll, or else we'll just type config to get that. I always play on the safer side. I'll just note that in my notebook. I haven't seen that yet, but when I read the notes on THM, I got this interesting thing. So basically, username on HRMS login panel. What is the username for the HRMS login panel? So it is HRMS admin. I'll just enter this. What is the password? HRMS admin @ no, not this, @123. It is correct. What is the URL of the config file? Admin.php. This is the URL, I think. Perfect. When you successfully log in, we need to log in this page. I'll just remove this. Let's go. Unable to connect. The hell is this? Still unable to connect. I'll just copy this URL and paste it here. Edit this to admin.php. That's it. Username and password. Username hrms admin hrms admin admin at 123 thm init SSRF. That's it. We got the flag. Submit. Types of SSRF: basic, continued. Accessing the internal server. In complex web, it is mostly front-end application to interact backend to front-end application to interact with the backend servers. These servers are generally hosted on non-routable IP address. Okay. Internal an attacker can exploit vulnerable web application input to trick the server requesting internal resources of the same network. They could provide a malicious URL as input, making the server interact with the internal server on their behalf. For the instant, if an internal server provides database management or administrative controls, the attacker could craft a URL that initiates an unintended action. Okay. So how it works? Basically, we need to, since such internal server may lack some same level of security monitoring as external facing servers, such exploit can often go unnoticed. The attacker might also use this method to perform reconnaissance within the internal network, identifying other vulnerabilities or vulnerable system or service to target. How it works? In this case, we will try to access the inaccessible internal resource through direct request. Now that we have acquired the credentials for the login page, we log into the dashboard. As we log in, we'll see dashboard listing employee and their departments. Okay. Continue. We have login. We have our desktop with employee and their details. Cancel. Here it is. I'll just, if we try to log in into admin panel directly, it is not accessible. Let's try to access it. It will show an error. Yes, it showed an error. We have no route to that IP. If private network works, employee.php and salary.php is the IP that is working, and we can find that on the code. Okay, so details.php is the code. If we need, details.php is the subdomain, but I cannot find any. Where can we find this? Source HTML. As we open the HTML header, I'm going to different things. Here it is, source employee.php. Similarly, if we scroll down, we can find the other salary.php also. Will not do that. Once you update the value, choose the salary option and select category drop down. Okay, let's use the inspect element to change the drop down value of the salary from salary to admin as shown below. Okay, then here we go. We got the access of the admin panel, which was earlier inaccessible. Is accessing non-routable address is possible? If yes, it is basically possible. Now we will go for the flag. So we are in the source code already. We have found one. As you can see, employee.php. I'll open this. Where can I find employee.php thing? There was a way to inspect a specific element. Here it is. If I scroll it down and category drop down, here it is. Admin.php is what we need to access. Admin.php. Enter. Salary, will click. I was saving it with Ctrl S. My bad. If I refresh this page, then it will visit employees again. Salary. We need to force that. Inspect. Drop down. We got this here. Admin.php is what we need to edit it. We can access, yes, we can access it. So basically here it is, the password. Basic SSRF. Types of SSRF: blind, Blind SSRF refers to a scenario where attacker can send requests to the server but they do not receive direct response or feedback. Just like blind SQL injection. Blind SSRF with out of band. Out of band is a technique where the attacker leverages separate out of band communication channel instead of directly receiving response from the target server to receive information or control the exploited server. This approach is practical when the server responses are not directly accessible to the attacker. Okay. For instance, the attacker might manipulate the vulnerable server to make a DNS request to a domain he owns or to initiate a connection to the external server with specific. This external interaction provides the attacker with evidence that SSRF vulnerability exists and potentially allow him to gather additional information such as internal IP address or internal network structure. How it works? Once again, log into the profile. Profile.php URL is equals to localhost getinfo.php, which display a message sending analytical data. What is happening? Once we load profile.php, it sends data to getinfo.php, which probably used analytics or logs. Source code of the page is given. Target URL is equal to get URL ob start php info. One attacker will create a file called server.py. Here an source code analysis of the URL parameter without performing any validation. It sends the information to a server mentioned in the URL parameter. Here an attacker can directly request to their server, thus getting additional information for exploitation of data privilege. Pilferage. New term or what? I don't know. On attacker box, create a new server.py, add the following code to it. I'll just do that first. Then we'll see what to do next. Nano server.py. I am copying the code that is present on the Try Hack Me website. Paste. Control X. Y for save. Yes, we have saved that code. The above code will receive all the content to save to data.html on the server. To obtain the data, we first need to start a lightweight server. We can do this in attack the box by using the following command: sudo chmod plus x server.py and sudo python 3 server.py. Now open the browser, attack the box IP. Okay. Semi-blind SSRF, time blazed. Basically these are attacks similar to SQL injection. They are quite a bit similar but includes oh no, we need to change the local host. I think sending analytic data. There are many things to do. I'll just do that and start the recording again. Started the recording again. Previously got an error in real life, that is the electricity cutoff was there in my locality. So basically did this, and how long it takes for the server to respond, the attacker can make educates. So we were on this step. As you can see here, we made a request to this site and we ran the script. The script was this, and we got something here. As you can see, it is a post request and the server status is online. So we'll see what to do next. The attacker send request each target of a different resource or URL. The attacker measures the response time for each request. If a response takes significantly longer, it may indicate the server successfully accessed the target resource, implying a successful SSRF attack. Does out-of-the-band SSRF always include a technique in which an attacker always receives direct response from the server? No. What is the value of virtual directory support on the PHP server per the log data? What is the value of virtual directory support on PHP server per the log data? There is a reference to something. What is the value? So I cannot find one. Which will log data in data.html data open data.html file. Actually I cannot find the data.html file anywhere here. I'll just edit this, adding data.html at the end. Maybe I get something. Sending data.html. Nothing in here actually. Now open the browser, open this, which will log the data in data.html. Open the data.html file which contains all essentials. Or maybe we just need to take this and slash data.html is what we need to visit, I think. The username was SSRF. No, not SSRF. It was HRMS admin. HRMS admin @123. Not now. Continue. We need to visit. What was that? Data.html. So if we'll just inspect this and edit this into data.html, enter. I'll just click on this, get something, cancel, nothing positive. Where is the data.html file? I cannot find one. Which contains all the information related to the server can be used to launch further attacks. Is there any data.html file in my Kali machine that was created? Oh yes, there is a data.html file, as you can see here. I saw the code and just got this file, nothing else. I don't know how it works. I'll study about Python, but first of all we'll just, what is the value of the virtual directory support on PHP server? Virtual directory support disabled. Are you able to see my screen? Yes, you are. Disabled. What is the value of PHP extension build on the server? PHP extension 2019-0902 2019-0902 PHP extension build. Okay, API 32 NTS API 32 NTS. Correct. Which type of SRF doesn't give us direct response? Blind SSRF. It is just like blind SQL injection. A classic example of crashing the server. An attacker could abuse SSRF by crashing the server or creating a denial of service for other hosts. There are multiple instances WordPress, Cairo, SVG where attackers try to disrupt the availability of a system by launching SSRF attacks. Crashing the server. In the SRF demonstration, we'll illustrate how an attacker can exploit a web application to cause a denial of service on the server. In our scenario, the vulnerability is exploited by supply a malicious URL. So shows training content, how it works. We'll log into dashboard. We'll see a training tab. So now on the navigation bar, we'll just visit the website. There is a training tab on the navigation bar. Stay tuned for the update. Okay, so we notice that url.php file is loaded, loading externally content displaying here. What if we try to load any another content? Try opening this url.php and it is it opened the file for you. Error fetching content. We need to change this IP or something. Nothing happens if we oh, here it is. Connection verified. If you can see the place you are connected to, try hack me. Your VPN try hack me is this. There is some information. I don't think there is something important here. We'll just get flag. Oh no, what is the flag value after loading a big image exceeding 100 KB? bigimage.jpg is the URL for the big image that we need to load. Interesting. So basically this is the URL that we are supposed to load. I'll just replace this with our IP and a big image. SRF crashed. THM underscore SSRF crashed. Okay, I copied this incorrectly. I'll just submit this. Correct. Remedial measures. Mitigation measures for SSRF are essential for preventing security integration of the web application. So there are some remedial measures that we need, blue teamers need to take. Implement strict input validation, maintain allow list of trusted URLs and domains, implement network segmentation, implement security headers, implement strong access controls, implement comprehensive logging and monitoring. That's it. Which of the following is suggested to approach while handling the URLs? Write the correct option only. Filter out disallowed URLs. Maintain and allow list of trusted URLs. Maintain and allow list of trusted URLs. Since SRF mainly exploits server-side request, is it optional to send as the input URL? No, it is not optional. It is essential. Conclusion: in this room we have covered the details of SRF while shedding light on basic blind and time-based techniques. The room aimed at providing you with a comprehensive understanding of this vulnerability within the web application through hands-on exercise and daily life scenarios. Moreover, we have also discussed some remedial measures to protect against vulnerability. So this was it for SRF. I will find some rooms that will help us with the same. So basically we'll do SSRF this week. I have exams in my college. I'll try my best to record videos, but uploading process will remain the same. I'll upload a video every alternate day and the recording will be stopped. I have content. I think I need to see how much content is left. I'll make videos, and basically I don't make videos for any other purpose. I make videos for learning purpose only. So when I'll start active learning on this topic again, I'll just start the recording. I'll just click on the recording button again. Maybe tonight if I find something really interesting in this topic, I'll start solving that. If I find some room, for sure, if I find some room, we will go on Juice Shop to find this vulnerability. And that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next.